welcome back to Black Coffee and Grits. I'm Lisa. This is our August recap video. I'm a little late getting it to you, but I'm here. I guess we're midway into September already. Happy September. I have a good excuse for why I've been gone, or why I'm delayed, I should say. I don't like late, but I guess it's true. I've been out of town, so yeah, I wasn't available at home to record, and I didn't have all my things, although I did take stitching. So I have lots to tell you about and lots to show you. Let's see. I took a trip to, I've been doing a lot of shopping in real life, like not just online. So took a trip to Hoops and Needles up in Plano, as I mentioned to you, I think on my last video that I was going to go and visit there. So I have some pictures to show you from that. I'll probably just do like a slideshow at the end of all of the shopping. There's a lot because after that trip up to Hoops and Needles in Plano, the following weekend, Michelle and I drove up to Color and Cotton to meet our friend Caitlin and have like a big, like fun stitching weekend in St. Louis, Missouri. So we went to go to Color and Cotton. Ultimately, that was our destination. We went by way of Arkansas because there were two shops that Michelle and I wanted to check out on the way, which were, let's see, Shepherd's Needle and Stitcher's Garden. So I've got pictures to show you from that, as well as like tons of haul. And then, yeah, things got like slid completely sideways as far as like I said goodbye to summer, even though it's really technically still summer. And I was like, hello, fall. I'm always ready for fall. My very favorite season. So some fall stitching started, and then there was no turning back after that. So I've got lots of projects to show you. I don't have any finishes today. I'm so sorry. I wasn't home, so it was hard to do finishing projects while I was in Montana. You're probably wondering, where have you been, ma'am? I have been for the last 3 weeks visiting a good friend of mine in Montana. She was going through some radiation treatments and needed a hand, so I put everything else in my life aside and went to be with her, spend some time. We had a nice visit, and hopefully I was able to lend a hand and help her get back on her feet a little bit. So she's got a little guy who's only 5, and so she had her hands full. Obviously, just being a mom without going through radiation treatments is a handful all by itself. He started kindergarten, and while I was there, and then we also did do one fun weekend trip. We went up to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. I had never even like thought about going to Idaho. I'll be honest. Montana, yes, it was on my radar because I've been before. My friend lives there. She's lived up there for, we've been friends since we were like in elementary school, but she's lived up there for the last, I'm not even going to tell. We're not counting. On this trip, we both talked about how is it possible that we are this age? But she's lived up there for more than 20 years. And yeah, it's beautiful. We went up for her wedding a few years ago and spent some time up at Glacier. This time I didn't get to go to Glacier, but she did take me over to Idaho, and it was beautiful. I mean, it's actually part of the Pacific Northwest, if you don't know, and there's this huge lake there. And so we got to do some hiking, and there were some really awesome gluten-free restaurants, one of which was Izzy's. And let me just tell you, they treated me to something I haven't had in a while, which was chicken fried steak. Very Southern food, but it was like a comfort style kitchen, and there was so much gluten-free like on the menu that it was difficult for me to choose. Usually I feel like having a gluten allergy, I usually have to make some sort of compromise about what I'm eating, but at this restaurant there was so much to choose from. We almost went back again, but I think on Sunday they had a long wait because they have a really amazing brunch. So we didn't go back, but we did have another good gluten-free meal there. I had an adult grilled cheese, which was like fancy with like apples and brie, and oh my gosh, it was so good. Anyway, you could have left me in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, because not only is the scenery amazing, beautiful, the food was excellent. So Amber had to get back for work. She started a new job. It was a big time for her. So obviously, I mean, going through radiation and cancer treatments, my friend was diagnosed with breast cancer back in April, and she was kind of quietly going through it. She didn't tell me, and so when I did find out, I was like, ma'am, what? It was a shock, and I wanted to do something for her, just come and see her and visit her and help her out with things, because I knew a lot was going on, besides the fact that she was starting a new job and she was finishing up her treatments, and her son was starting kindergarten, and her husband was out on a fire. So she was spread thin, to say the least. And so hopefully I was able to help her a little bit and cheer her up. We had a good time, I think. I had a good time. I know that. And I think she's back on her feet. We were hiking and feeling like we were turning a corner. So that felt good. So I blabbed and blabbed about what I've been up to. Let me show you some stitching. How about it, huh? I'm still drinking my coffee. I don't even know what time it is. It's after 10. So my coffee is cold because, yes, I started drinking it a long time ago. And then I started getting out all the stitching things. And you know how that can go, especially when I shopped and shopped until I dropped. So I had a lot of stuff to get out. And hopefully it all made it to the table over here. So no FFOs to show you this time because I was in Montana for the last 3 weeks. So I didn't have all my things, but I have a stack of things I want to FFO. And if you recall in my last video, I think I mentioned that Michelle and I we were planning to make a trip to the peanut gallery, and we did, and I got my Evening Shades of the Garden framed, and it's ready. And so this weekend probably we'll go up there and pick that up. I can't wait to get it because she sent me a picture of it and it looks amazing. So I will for sure have at least one FFO to show you next month. No, I think I have 3 finishes from the month, and so I'll get going on FFOing these, and plus I have some other things from last year that are in the stack that I really wanted to FFO. I think a lot of dough bowl pillows, and I have that cute little witch that I want to FFO. I've got to find a finishing piece for that. So it sounds like I need to go shopping again. I feel like I have a bajillion things to tell you. I just don't even. I'll just stick with the schedule and I'll show you these starts and finishes. So because I knew I was going to Montana for 3 weeks, I was trying to be like concise in my packing and not take too much, but also I knew I would have some downtime and some stitching time. But I was trying to not take like all the things, especially since I just got back from Coloring Cotton, Shepherd's Needle, Stitcher's Garden, and Hoops and Needles. I had all these things, and I had kitted up all the fall, and at Coloring Cotton I went bananas with floss, but I was trying to be really good, and so I only brought 4 projects with me to Montana. So for 3 weeks I was a very focused stitcher, and I did a start and a finish on where's the pattern? Out of this book. This is called Winds of Autumn by Blackbird. And I knew since last year that I wanted to stitch this piece. It's called Spell of the Moon. And I had seen another fellow stitcher, L Snaps, Lisa, had stitched this owl, and she had stitched it on this blue fabric. And I was like, OMG, I love that. It's so amazing. So I set out to find fabric that was similar to hers, and I ended up picking Haunted, because this was actually in my stash. I started another piece on this This is Haunted by Picture This Plus. It's a 32 count. And look how amazing it looks. It's so good. I love all the modeling in this fabric. I think it's really moody and it just suits the piece really well. So I did use all the called for flosses on this. I think it was a mix of classic Colorworks black coffee, my favorite black, of course, Gentle Arts Harvest Moon, and then the other floss is Weeks Dye Works Pelican Gray. So there's just 3 flosses in this, which was great for travel because it didn't, require a lot of supplies. So I started and finished this while I was there. It felt so good, and I'll confess that I ran out of black coffee while I was there because the call for on the pattern says to stitch 1 over 2, but I didn't want to stitch 1 over 2. I wanted to stitch 2 over 2 because you know how I am about stitching 2 over 2. So I actually ran out of black coffee. So, there was another shop that I went to actually in Montana. They had a little shop there in Missoula called Beads, Yarns, and Threads. Now, they didn't have a ton, but they had a little bit of cross-stitch stuff. They had Gentle Arts threads, but they didn't really have classic Colorworks threads. And I was already like pretty far deep into this. Like I was almost finished with it. I think I just still had like the house and the urn left and maybe a tiny bit of the border. And so I put in an order to 1, 2, 3 stitch, and they sent me, I ordered 10 skeins of black coffee. I mean, the shipping price is the same no matter how many skeins you order. So I was just like, I'm not running out again, at least not for a while, right? So I was laughing at myself for not bringing more skeins of black coffee, but we got it done. So starting to finish on Spell of the Moon. Loved it. I'm gonna finish it in a double finish like Lisa did. So that's coming next month. Also a start and a finish. Actually, I started this while we were on our coloring cotton adventure with Michelle. My friend Michelle of Making It with Michelle. She also has a Flosstube. And then Caitlin, she didn't start this. Caitlin, her Flosstube channel is Stitch for Mom. And so I will link both of them below. But Caitlin didn't start this because she was already working on some other fabulous Plum Streets, which she was giving me like major Stitch MB on. Goody Grimwood. Is that the one? Pretty sure that's what it's called. The house on that is amazing. But I'm supposed to be talking about Autumn Posey. Let me grab the pattern for this. So I'm not sure at what point we picked up Autumn Posey. I think it might have been at Shepherd's Needle. Nope, we got it at the Stitcher's Garden. The tag is on it. So haul is going to be kind of all mixed in because I started things that I picked up already, I think. Sorry, couldn't wait to get into these things. So this is Autumn Posey by Plum Street Samplers, and Michelle and I saw this and we saw it finished on this really cute, I'll pop in a picture, wooden, I think it's a Quaker box, shaker box. And I know that those are no longer available. It says that they were from Lone Elm Lane. It says it on the back of the pattern. So it's actually what's pictured right here. They had this model at the shop, and I know that's no longer available because Michelle and I looked like almost immediately because we really liked it. But I just saw, and I'll pop in a picture of this too, at Target in the dollar spot area. They had some velvet boxes in brown, and also I think they had them in sort of a light blue as well. I need to go to Target today and make that a priority because I was trying so hard to not like bring too many things home from Montana, and because my suitcase was already popping at the seams. So Michelle and I kitted this up and we got started on it right away while we were at our VRBO in St. Louis, and we kitted it up with color and cotton. And I do have our color conversion here. So I will pop this in the notes, in the show notes. section. And then I haven't posted this on Instagram yet, but I will also get it up on Instagram and include the color conversion. So it turned out so pretty. And I picked up a piece of, this is pistachio from Fiber on a Whim. I believe I got this at Shepherd's Needle, pretty sure. Probably again has the tag on it, but yes. And they had a huge selection of fabric, really awesome. Actually, both shops in Arkansas were really amazing. They had a lot of great stuff. So I just picked this up and got started on it. I started down here in the corner with the pumpkin because I was in the mood for something fall. And then I completed it while I was in Montana. So it was a fun stitch, a quick stitch. I say it was a quick stitch. Probably took me more than 8 days, but I was also doing other things, not full-time stitching on it while I was there. So did I tell you this was 32 count, 2/2? I don't think I did. 32 count pistachio by Fiber on a Whim with not classic Colorworks, color and cotton flosses. And I will put that conversion in the show notes. Okay, so the other start and finish that I had, did I start this before I went to Montana? I can't remember. I feel like I did. I did. I put like one strand in it because I wanted to see what it was going to look like. This is Autumn Quaker by Primrose Cottage. And I probably showed this at some point in a video of haul last year or something. I don't remember exactly when I got this, but at Stitching Bee, my friend Brooke and I of Stitch by the Brook, we saw this thread from Live and Die LA. It's called Mad Hatter, and it was so fun with all of the variegation in it. It's like the epitome of fall. It's like the perfect purples, charcoal to brown, oranges. It's just beautiful. So we both decided we were going to stitch this Autumn Quaker with this floss. And Brooke finished hers eons ago, last year, I'm pretty sure. And I just finally started mine. And I had a piece of this fabric. This is an interesting fabric. This fabric reminds me a lot of murky, but it's not murky. It's got a bit more of a gray base, but it's got the greens and the purples in it. And I hope that's showing up, but I had this in stash and I got it from the Stitch Niche before they went out of business. And I don't know who the maker is on this. It's 32 count linen. It says SCS. And I feel like Michelle told me she thought it was, I can't remember now what she thought it was. But at any rate, I'm really not sure. I do like how this turned out. It's deep, dark, and moody. I was struggling a little bit with like placement of the thread because it is so variegated, and trying to decide, how I wanted to stitch things, like whether I wanted them more stripy or going around. And so, but at some point I just kind of went for it and just got her done. So this one was probably a little bit more of a quick stitch. I'm not sure how many days I ended up putting in on this. I need to get my notebook caught up. I did take my notebook with me, my planner. I didn't show it to you. I usually show you my planner at the beginning. I was sitting here trying to look and see how many days, but I'm not caught up. So I usually show you, this is my planner, the cross stitch planner from the Naptime stitcher, Katie, and she has generously given us a discount code for this if you're interested in it. Now, I know we're well into the year, but it might be something you want to think about for next year. And you print this out yourself. I printed mine out on a cardstock type paper, and then I just took it over to my local FedEx, and they did the binding on it, and it was very reasonably priced to get the binding. It was like less than $10. I want to say it was $7. I can't remember exactly, but at any rate, it's a great planner. And what I was talking about was she has a cross stitch tracker pages, and so maybe I did catch up on August, but then there were some September days in there too. So I spent 9 days on Spell of the Moon, 10 days on Autumn Posey, and then Autumn Quaker. I had 1 day in August. This is not right. It's not caught up for September. So 2, 3, 4, 5 days. 5 days of stitching on that. So it went pretty quick. Okay, so you're probably thinking, what were the other projects that you ended up taking with you? And yes, I am behind on my BAPs because I didn't want to take all the things. So before I left, I had stitched for a few days on my Hello Halloween. Let me show you that. I'm not as prepared with all the things. I'm so sorry. Been stitching on this from Teresa Kogut. Hello Halloween. I'm doing this large sampler, Halloween sampler. It's one of many awesome projects in this book. Stitching it with all the called fors, stitching it on 20 count properly primitive by Under the Sea fabrics, and I have been stitching on this for quite a while. I mean, it's a big old sampler, so you know, got a lot to do. I think what I ended up finishing was this cat with the pumpkin. I think I just finished this whole bottom section. There were some little quilt stars that needed to be put in. I'm not 100% sure, but it feels like that was so long ago. And I think it's like past the 3-week mark. It's really hard to start keep remembering what in the world you were doing, but this is coming along. And I know September is Sampler September, so I'll probably will focus on this a little bit. Like I said, I do need to get caught up. I did 2 days on this in August, but I need to do 2 days for September at least. That was my goal. For my pandemic and my Hawk Run hollow pieces, I didn't work on those, so I have 4 days to catch up on. So will be some progress to see at the end of September. Okay, I'm itching to stitch. I didn't tell you in my little intro like what I've been doing. The other thing I did, I got back on Tuesday of this week, and then Wednesday my husband had tickets to the Rangers game, so we went to see the Rangers, and they are on a run. They're on a heater. They've been lagging behind, sort of struggling a little bit with a lot of injuries, but they brought in a lot of young players who are replacing those veteran players who are hurt right now, and so they have been, they won four games in a row. So we went yesterday to a day game, and that's always fun. So we got to see them win 3 against the Brewers, so that was fun. So playoff time is like, you know, it's getting near. Like I think we're 1 game out of a wild card spot, so hopefully we're gonna make those playoffs. But obviously, baseball's been kind of top priority. Oh, I had another project that I took with me to Montana that I was gonna show you, and I didn't get it out and iron it because it's not mine. I'm gonna call this affectionately What a Pal stitch, because do you have a friend that would stitch for you? I do. She's such a pal. Michelle and I both have Halloween witch projects that we were kind of struggling with, and so we decided to do a little swapsies. So she has I'll pop in a picture of it. It's a With Thy Needle and Thread Bobbing for Pumpkins piece that she's working on, and I didn't want to stitch on it because it's just with one strand, and then she didn't want to stitch on this because it's 2 strands. So we're helping each other out, and this is a honker. The Quilted Witch by Lori Holt, Bee in My Bonnet. So Michelle had gotten pretty close to a page finish. Is that true? I think she had pretty close to 2 pages. She had a page finish and then almost a second page. And so here's the before-ish, because I started stitching on this and then I took a picture of it. But I put in a lot of stitches on it while I was in Montana because this was one of the only other things I had to stitch on. So once I finished all my littles, Michelle got some days, she got some days in on this big old beast. And please forgive me because I do not know what Michelle is stitching this fabric on, but I will pop it in the notes. I know it's a 32 count linen. It's a beautiful gold color. I will pop the fabric color in the notes. I do know she's stitching it with all of the call for DMCs, and we're gonna just chat for a second. It is a lot of floss, and I'm just gonna, if you decide you want to stitch this, like, pro tip, you might want to think about not putting in all of the little details on the quilted skirt. I don't know. I'm going to show you up close and you can be the judge, but these are all the DMCs and it is quite a lot of threads, and some of these are really close together in coloration, and so you tell me what you think, but I'm sort of having a hard time seeing some of the color changes, and so I just wonder if it's worth all the effort to put in all those little details. Michelle had all the things. She got the whole kit, I think, from Blackbird shop for this. But this was the thing I was going to tell on her for, but I did this too. I think the other part of the reason why she was dreading this project, besides the fact that it was 2 over 2 and she doesn't really like to stitch with 2 strands anymore, was that when I received these threads, they were like the very long length. And so I cut all of them down, and I have learned that's something I've learned over the years, which is having a little bit more experience, especially with stitching with 2 strands, is that having shorter lengths, even though you're rethreading your needle a little bit more frequently, you're not getting as many knots. And so that's a, frustrating thing to like deal with. Nobody wants knots. So pro tip, if you're gonna stitch this, cut your threads down and also thread your needle a little more frequently, and think about what you want to do on this skirt if you want to put in all those details. Now I'm sitting here looking at it and I feel like they do show up. So maybe it is worth it. I know I worked on mostly the skirt because I think that was her most dreaded part, but then I also decided the witch needed a head. So I put her head on and her hat and the top part of her shirt. I think Michelle had one of the sleeves kind of going. Michelle had finished all of this section with the pumpkin and all these beautiful quilt designs, the quilt stars. So I'm going to save those for her, I think is my plan, but I'm going to put in a little bit more on the skirt. Oh, also, with the skirt, the other pro tip I will give you is to get going on it enough that you don't have to keep changing your threads so much. So like I've gotten to the point where I can do like 3 to 4 blocks per color and then, go into the next one. Does that make sense? Like if you have enough blocks filled in, that then you can kind of skip around a little bit and not get off. Because obviously with this style pattern, there's no like fudge factor. You gotta get it exactly perfect. But anyways, this is a fun piece, and what a pal, because I love Michelle. So that is our pal whip. I don't know how far she's come online. I'm curious to see. That's really a nice thing to do, though. If you've got a good friend and you've got a project that you're kind of like meh about, maybe think about doing a little swap-a-roo. Okay, 2 more whips. 2 more whips. One of them is already here on the board. And I don't actually have, do I have it? Yes, I do. Things are getting a little sideways over here. The piles are piling. I've got the pattern, so I'll just show it so I don't have to pop in a picture of it. This is Farm and Folk Penny Cushions. Here a peep, there a peep. This is the one I'm working on now by Heartstring Samplery. This is a Stitch Along with Brook, Stitch by the Brook. I think we just called it, oh, I don't know. I'll pop it in the notes what we, here a peep, there a peep, SAL. I can't remember. Sorry, friend. Sorry, friends, I guess. But this is my progress on this. And I'm stitching mine on 32 count Sugar Cookie by Color and Cotton with Brooks DMC conversion. And look, it's coming along. I got those fun little, what are those things called? What is wrong with me? Those little swoopy things. Buntings. I got the buntings finished, and then that flower that's in the very center. And so now I'm excited to work on the animals. I'm stitching it 2/2 on this linen fabric. And so we had actually already finished this piece. So these will be dough bowl pillows. So looking forward to FFOing those together. Okay. Last but not least, I took this to stitch on with my friend Michelle because she and Brooke and I are all stitching this together. I do know the Sal name for this. Big old Quaker Sal. I'm just kidding. M. Satterwaith, a Quaker sampler. This is by Shakespeare's Peddler. And we are all stitching ours a little bit differently. We all pick different fabric and floss. I'm finding like little floss tail ends everywhere. I started mine on this beautiful piece of opal linen by Picture This Plus. It's a 32 count, and I'm stitching mine 2/2 with black coffee, of course, for the floss. It's classic Colorworks black coffee, and I finished the swan block. Isn't that fun? Oh my gosh, I love it so much. It's just been a fun stitch. Obviously it's really it's going to be a large Quaker. So we'll be working on this one for a little while, but it felt good to get to a stopping point. And that's kind of been like my method lately for things, is kind of getting to a stopping point and then putting them down and working on something else and still feeling like, okay, I accomplished something. A mini finish, if you will. Okay, let me check my notes and get a little sip of water. So that's it for whips. Now, I've got a ton of haul to show you, and I'm going to pop in a slideshow pictures of the shops that we went to, and I'm not sure what exactly that's going to look like because I will probably have to do all that during editing, but my plans are to stitch everything fall from here on out. You probably noticed I actually put up some of my fall things. I got a few things out this morning. When I was in Montana with my friend Amber, we fully decorated for fall at her house. But I'm ready to get that done over here. And I usually do wait until like the first day of fall because it's so hot here in Texas that, I don't know, it doesn't feel right. But this time I'm decorating a little bit early, so later today I'll get out the rest of the things. I started taking down all of the patriotic, and maybe I'll do a little video tour of the things if I get those up in time. If not, I'll have it for the next video. I'll do a clip of all the cute fall stitching. I have a lot of fall stitching, so that's exciting and fun to put out. I already told you that my other plans were to get caught up on my BAPs, so 4 days on Pandemic and 4 days on Hawk Run Hollow, then 2 more days on Hello Halloween. I also want to get my quilt binded. Didn't work on that this month because obviously I had the unplanned trip. Okay, haul, but I gotta shift some things around. Things got tore into, things got kitted up. Some of the things I don't remember where they were from. Although I do remember where this was from, and this is part of my haul from Hoops and Needles, which is Candy's shop up in Plano. And this is a quilting thing, but this is some fabric. She had these little, I forgot what these are called. They're like Moda samples of Agatha Road. The line is called Agatha Road by Fig Tree. And I thought this was such a fun fabric line. And these were really reasonable. I think she was selling these little like scraps for like $5 maybe a piece. And you got a decent amount of fabric. So I thought this would be fun for making some bags and or, you know, maybe something else. So I think I got all the colorways. And then, of course, some of the samples are a little bit longer than the others. I really like the blacks. Of course, the black and whites. No surprise there, right? But look at that. Isn't that pretty? And then they incorporated some of the, that's alphabet, but then also some orange in these. So pretty. So I definitely know I got that from Candy Shop. I know I also got some patterns. She has a good selection. She has since done her grand opening since we were there. And I hope that was a big success for her. I'm super excited to have another LNS. So I have another field trip to take soon to go check out the shop in Arlington that has since opened called, oh gosh, what is it called? God, you guys are going to fire me on the spot. It is called something Cactus. I always want to look at my phone, and my phone is on the tripod recording the video. So it's very difficult to look something up. We're so reliant on that as a resource. Okay, so earlier this year, I had picked up this pattern, Byron Blackbird, by the Artsy Housewife. And while we were at Color and Cotton, I picked up this fabric called Spellbound. See how well you can see that through this plastic. I think it's actually really pretty linen. It's 32 count. It's got like these purpley gray vibes, which are just like, to me, so like spooky, kind of fall, Halloween-y. So yeah, this is Spellbound 32 count linen, and I thought it would be perfect for Byron Blackbird. So after we got home, Michelle and I kitted this up with some stash flosses based on the picture, and then just kind of pulling some, I don't know if any of these were the called for, or if we just literally picked what we wanted to pick. I can't remember now, but ooh, it's so pretty. It's just going to be awesome. And I will, of course, share these color conversions as I start stitching and know that the colors work out. If you're interested to know what they are, you can always message me, email me, or leave a comment. And, you know, I know not everybody is on Instagram, but I do usually post my color conversions over on Instagram too. And then it's always fun to see them. Okay. All right. Things are kind of a mess at this point. I got some from Shepherd's Needle, some of these Easy Guide ball tip needles. These are from Sullivan's. And I've used these on occasion and I like them. So remember I told you I bought a bunch of black coffee from, this is actually not the stash from 123 Stitch, but that also happened. I think I actually picked that up at Color and Cotton. So at Color and Cotton, they have like all the floss lines, and then they have, of course, the magic wall of all their floss. But it's great when you're trying to do a color conversion. They will actually pull like the called fors for you, and then you can like see side by side like what the conversion looks like. So Color and Cotton is amazing. I can't even talk enough about it. I probably could have stayed in there and shopped for like 2 or 3 days. I think as it was, we were in there for a couple hours. But these were some of my favorite flosses that I picked up. Purple People Eater, that didn't end up going in the project yet. Battleship, and Battleship. I like that floss. And I was using it on one of my Teresa Kogut Broad Stripes and Bright Stars book. Okay, a note from the Shepherd's Needle. They gave us these cute little notepads, post-it notes. I picked up this fabric there. This is, and I have a picture of this too. This is a piece of 32 count oatmeal from Fiber on a Whim. And it's beautiful. And they had the model of this Witch by Lottie Daw, which I had picked up this pattern earlier this year and I really wanted to stitch it. And I thought this had like the same vibes. And so I have a note to stitch Witch on this beautiful piece of linen. Not sure exactly where, but this happened. Turkey Day by Cottage Garden Samplings. I think this was at Citrus Garden because they had like all the turkey models. And I was like, I love turkeys. Wild turkeys remind me of my grandpa. My dad's dad, he loved to turkey hunt and just was kind of always obsessed with turkeys. So when I see them, it reminds me of him. So I've been wanting to stitch one of these turkeys, and I was trying to decide which piece, but I decided to go with this one, the Cottage Garden. I mean, who says that's the only one I have to ever stitch, but I'll start with it. Okay, at Color and Cotton, they have the Straight from the Heart by Sue bags. And I have been eyeing this fabric line. It's so cute. And so I got this project bag. It is one of the vinyl front bags, but it's like a really high quality, really well made. Like I could not even make something this nice. And then she always does like a really cute little charm on the zipper pull. So there's a little tassel, and then there's the haunted house. Loved the haunted houses, but what I really love from this fabric line is this houndstooth. Oh, the green is so good. But then they also did, I think, an orange and a gray and black. And I did pick up some of that at some point. So this is another project that I already had this pattern, I believe. Midnight Watch. I tried really hard to be so good and like set out with some things to kit up, but some things got sideways. So I don't actually think I kitted this up at Color and Cotton. I think Michelle and I kitted this up after we got home from Stash, but this is a piece of Fiber on a Whim Heather that I think I'm gonna stitch this Blackbird on. And I think we just ended up pulling Stash floss. Yeah, we did, because there's a mix here of course, Classic Colorworks Black Coffee. And then we just pulled some Color and Cotton flosses and some Forbidden Fiber Co. A while back, I had gotten a floss pack with like a Halloween theme, and so these colors were so good. I love how this is looking. And I think it's gonna be really pretty on this purple and different. So I'm excited about that. It's already got an amazing project bag. You guys, what am I gonna, I'm gonna be starting, I have so many fall whips. I need to finish things, but it's gonna be really hard not to stitch all the things. Okay, so surprisingly, not all the haul is fall themed. I know, hard to believe, but most of it is. Plum Street Samplers, Nelson. I got this at Shepherd's Needle. I just love this one. We've got some patriotic ahead of us because it is the America's birthday. So there'll be some patriotic stitching going on. Couldn't pass this up. Plum Street Samplers, George decorates for Martha. Love it. This is, I was looking to see if it said on the back. Mount Vernon. Yeah, it does. This is Mount Vernon. It's so good. I love it. I love so much about this. George and Martha are on it. Just loved this. We were on a Plum Street kick. Plum Street Samplers, Liberty Lodge. I had never seen this before. And I thought that truck was so cute. And it's obviously got some patriotic vibes there too. I don't think I kitted that up or bought any fabric or floss for it, but this is a piece of fabric I ended up picking up at Color and Cotton that I thought was so pretty. It's gradient pour over, so rich brown tones. 32 count linen. This happened, and I'm not mad about it. I always love Blackbird, you know that. Sorry, there's some crinkle gonna happen. I picked up this book, Sisters, while we were at Shepherd's Needle. And what stuck out to me was this pattern, Which No More. And I actually read about the sampler. I love the colors of it, but this was a sampler of the Shield Sisters, inspired this piece. And the story is that she was imprisoned and charged for witchcraft, and then she was I better just read this before I just mess it all the way up. The samplers of the Shield Sisters inspired me to design a piece that memorialized a sister of my 11th great-grandmother, Janet J. Varlith. I don't know if I'm saying that name right. Jeanette G, maybe? Was astounded to learn that her younger sister Judith had been imprisoned and charged with witchcraft in Hartford, Connecticut. Unable to offer help, Jeanette J relied on their brother Nicholas to come to Judith's rescue. Fortunately, Captain Nicholas Vareth was married to Governor Peter Stuyvesant's sister. Stuyvesant wrote a letter on Judith's behalf and spoke of her well-known education, her life, and profession of faith. His efforts were successful, and she was released from prison on October 13th, 1662. She left Connecticut and moved to the Netherlands and married Stuyvesant's nephew, Nicholas Barnard, in 1666. So this was to commemorate her release from prison and wrongfully accused of witchcraft. So it's a beautiful, beautiful sampler. I love everything about it. The colors are amazing. I love the house, the moon. Oh my gosh, all those little Quaker stars are beautiful. So Michelle helped me kit this up. Actually, also at Color and Cotton, they helped us do the conversion for this. But Michelle was there to help me approve all the changes. So I have the color conversion, and I will share that also in the notes. At Hoops and Needles, I had picked up this piece of Cappuccino by Fiber on a Whim in 32 count. So I'll be stitching this sampler on this beautiful Cappuccino fabric. It's so good. And then we did the full color conversion. Actually, here's Here's why I love Color and Cotton so much. We didn't actually do a full color conversion because there were some of the threads that we just felt were so unique to Weeks and Gentle Arts that she didn't really have something she thought was as pretty. So for Old Hickory and Wood Trail and Harvest Basket from the Gentle Arts, we used the called for, and then Charcoal from Weeks Dye Works. So, and actually, I think I also found when I was at Beads, Yarns, and Threads some walnut, which has been really hard to find. So I picked up a couple of skeins of walnut from Gentle Arts. But be ready to get blown away by these colors. Oh my gosh, they are so rich and lovely. And let me see if I can. I should have laid this out better for you. Maybe I'll insert a picture of it all splayed out, but it's beautiful. I love the purples. So I think this is Voodoo. Yeah. It's so good, especially against those golds. The colors in this are just so rich and beautiful, and I'm excited to stitch this. In fact, I was holding myself back from starting this while we were on our trip. See, I told you I'm going to be a starting machine. That project needs a beautiful bag. Okay, my haul is like a crazy mess. It's all over the place. This was from Shepherd's Needle. I don't know why. I had to have this. 2 donkey samplers. This is from Needlework Press. Let me see if I can. I may have to pop pictures of these. It's these 2 little guys. Aren't they fun? Don't know why. Had to have them. I told you that we were on a major Plum Street kick. This might require a picture as well. This is Salem Sampler. Caitlin was stitching this. And I didn't kit this up, but I really wanted to. I love this. This is so good. And it's a honker, I'm pretty sure. How big is this thing? 168 by 185. Not that awful. It's funny how when you start stitching something like Pandemic, things, I don't know, they don't seem that big anymore. Penny Autumn by Plum Street Samplers. I think Michelle had already stitched this and I was eyeing it. I think she omitted the penny border, but I really like it. Color and Cotton Treasure Map. This is beautiful. Oh my gosh, it's so good. I think almost all the fabric I picked up was 32 count. Some more stuff got kitted and thrown into a bag. Actually, it took everything I had not to take this to Montana. This is why this is all in this bag. Because I really thought about bringing it and I didn't. Heart and Hand Ye Old Crow sampler. And I'm going to stitch it with black coffee. And this is the fabric I picked up from Hoops and Needles. It is Oaken by Picture This Plus. Is that not perfect? Oh my gosh, it's going to be so good. I've been wanting to stitch that one for a long time too. I've got more kitted up here than I could stitch in 2 years, but that's okay. Picked this one up along the way, the Scarlet House, Pumpkins and Bittersweet. And we went and hiked in the Bitterroot Valley, and we saw a lot of that bittersweet. I decided to stitch on this piece of Moonstone by Fiber on a Whim, which I picked up at Hoops and Needles. They had a lot of great fabrics. Looks like I didn't actually kit that up with floss yet, but this also happened. This was kitted up, not kitted up. The model of this was in Stitcher's Garden, and I'll pop in a picture of it because I thought it was so pretty. This is Autumn Alphabet by Willow Hill Samplings. It's got those great like fall vibes with the pumpkin stack and the cute little cat. And I picked up this piece of fabric to stitch it on. This was also at Stitcher's Garden. It is like almost exactly like what's shown in the picture, I feel. What fabric is this? This is 32 count Tornado, I think. It doesn't say who dyed this. So my apologies, I'm not sure. They were willing to, they had a lot of fabric too, and they were willing to cut things to size, which was nice. Try to put some of this back as I go, since I had some of these fabrics matched up to projects already. I'm not showing these old project bags because I have so much haul to show you already. Okay, this is one that I think that I kitted up, and I think I'm going to stitch it for, or started at least, for the America's birthday. This is One Nation by Bygone Stitchers. And I've seen so many people stitch this, and it's beautiful and it's big. So it called for a lot of floss. I think I pulled this piece of Seraphim. Not sure if it's old stationery from Stash. I'm sorry, the label has gone off of this, but I know this is a piece of Seraphim fabric, and I was on the fence about kitting this up with the called for flosses because I pulled the red that was called for. I'm particular about my reds. And it was Cupid, and I didn't love it. So I substituted, and I got all the skeins because they had them. And since this calls for so many skeins of floss, I wanted to make sure, you know, there wasn't variation in the color. Obviously these are variegated flosses, but what I mean is like the dye lots were similar. This is Cayenne by Weeks Dye Works. And then I chose for my blue the called for, which is Blacksmith Blue by Classic Colorworks. And then of course the white that's called for is Antique Lace, and I decided to do grits instead. So we've got all the skeins of grits, a million of them. That's not even all of them. There's more. So I kitted that up, and I was very pleased. I kitted that up at Shepherd's Needle that they had that many skeins of floss available. I was pretty sure I was going to have to kit that up from 1-2-3 Stitch in order to get all the skeins from the same dye lot, but they had all of them there. I was so impressed with their stock situation. Okay, this is the last thing that I kitted up at Color and Cotton. So I have a color conversion for this as well. And Michelle and I are going to stitch this together. This is Grace Doth Abound by Plum Street Samplers. Let me see if I can get in close on the pattern. Oh my gosh, I love this so much. I had this piece of fabric in Stash. It is Creme Brulee by Color and Cotton. And so I decided to kit it up while we were at Color and Cotton. And what we decided to do was Michelle, because the DMCs that are called for, you don't need very much of them. Michelle and I split the DMCs between us. So these are the DMCs. And then I decided to do grits for my house because why wouldn't I? And then we did the color conversion that they suggested at Color and Cotton for the over dyes. So these are all color and cotton threads. Oh, they're so good. Is that not beautiful? Oh, it's gonna be amazing. Let me get those DMCs down in there too, because those are the fun like pops of blue. I love it so much. So Michelle, when are we starting that? So many things to start. Okay, so bear with me because I know that was a lot of haul. And now I gotta get my head on straight. I think I've told you all the things. I think this is where I say goodbye and I sign off. I'm looking for my notes that are buried now. Oh, I had one more haul thing to show you. It's over by my desk. And then we gotta talk about books. I had a mess, and it was so fun and so worth it. Before I left, I had ordered some Mad for Minders, needle minders, and they came in while I was gone. So I got these cutie patooties. Hold on, let me turn this one. Actually, these two need to be turned because I got the Three Little Pigs. So my husband and I love the Shrek Ever After movie, and I think the Three Little Pigs in that are so hysterical. And so we're always saying, I ate the pizzones too. So those little pigs just make me laugh. And then tacos, because I mean, it's like the best food ever. And then there's a beautiful stained glass Mary and Joseph and baby Jesus. And then this is probably gonna go in my big patriotic stitch bag, don't you think? This little patriotic guy. There's also a little gal. I'm not sure if that, I don't think that's supposed to be anyone in particular. Just like Uncle Sam, I guess. Okay, so while I was gone, I had some downtime and I spent some time flying on an airplane. So I was really deep into the Thursday Murder Club book by Richard Osman. I'm popping in a picture of that. I was reading that on my e-reader through the library and I was taking too long. So they took the book away from me, but I was able to go to my local, what is that place called? We have a book resale down the road here. I can't remember what it's called. At any rate, I was able to find it there. And so I had the good old-fashioned copy of the book and I was able to finish it. It was really good. And at the very end of it, I was like gasping and I was laughing out loud. And I was in the car with my friend Amber and she was laughing at me because she was like, this must be a really good book. And I was like, I want to know what's going to happen in the next book. So there are four books in that series. So I'm in line for the next one at the library. I went to the local bookstore in Montana trying to find the second book, but they didn't have it, unfortunately. So maybe later today when I'm out and about, and I'll hit up our bookstore over here because it's a pretty long wait for getting it from the library. And that happens sometimes. And I did it again. The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna came up, available from the library. I'd been waiting on it for eons, it felt like. And of course, I was finishing the Thursday Murder Club book, so I didn't really want to put it down, but this is available. And so I went ahead and checked it out, and now I've run out of time on it as well. And I'm like at the point where I don't want to put it down, but I found a used copy of it from Thrift Books. They're online and they ship pretty quick, so it's already on its way to me. And so I think I have just today left on my library loan, but this book is gripping and it is so good. And I'm so glad that I didn't delay reading it any longer. It's about two sisters in World War II in Nazi occupied France. It's good. It's really good. So if you haven't already read The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, put it on your list because you're going to want to read it. It's like the epitome of historical fiction, but she really is a great storyteller, and she's got me like, I don't want to put it down. So I don't think I really gave you a recap of the Thursday Murder Club, but basically they're trying to solve these murders, and there were multiple murders. At the end of the book, I shouldn't even tell you all things. I don't want to spoil it, but it keeps you hanging. You're certainly wanting that second book. Okay, hopefully this isn't too much of a mess to edit, and I can get it out for you guys quickly. I will plan to be back again at the end of September, which is just, I think, is it 2 weeks or 3 weeks-ish? 2.5 weeks. So I'll be back with my September stitching recap at the end of the month, 1st of October. So hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. Also, I've had so many new subscribers after my big whip parade video. So thank you all if you're a new subscriber. I really appreciate it. And I hope you all have an amazing beginning of fall, and I will see you soon. Happy stitching!